Hello, this is Russell from
Tones of Evil.
and you're listening to Capes and Lunatics.
Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend DG Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started. Love those laser guns. Hey, cats and kittens! Welcome once again to Superconnectivity. I am your host, Charlie the Professor Esser. And with me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burg of Pets,
Phil, Filmy, and Perich.
the man of the podcast. Hello, Philip. I'm so glad you're here. You know, as we always say, there would be no podcasts if there was not a man named Phil. At least that's my opinion. At least this podcast. This podcast would not exist without Phil. And of course, that is why we adore him. Philip.
Charles?
Have you seen the most recent Moon Knight?
Yes, episode 2. Yes, I did.
Yes. Now, I don't want to go too crazy into this.
Yes, I know you and Moz have to cover it, but
Because me and Maz are going to talk about, I do think that there's a lot in here that is very interesting.
oh, can I say first, I'm glad Moz enjoyed it, episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was afraid he was going to be like, I don't like it, but no, I'm glad he liked it.
See, you know what? Because Maz likes anything that's cinematic.
Yes.
Anything that has that's a mystery. Oh, this is something we got to solve. Oh, how do these things fit together, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Maz is an intellectual.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, definitely.
And so that's what makes him a great co-host, like yourself.
Indeed.
You know, when you have a person with a wide range of interests, with a wide sense of things, he's not just looking for the bish and bang. He's looking for what is a story that speaks to me, that tells something interesting to me. And that's what he likes. And that's what I like too. And I have enjoyed this. We just had the second episode drop on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And there is some controversy about what the third personality might be named.
If we get a third personality.
Yeah, we're gonna get that third personality. In fact, there are arguments that third personality is on display throughout it, because there are actually, every time we see Steven talking to Mark, it's always in a 3 reflection situation.
Hey.
That even though we're always talking to Mark is the talkative one.
Hey.
There's
Yeah.
always a secondary person in there. And now, of course, there's the third personality in the comic books. Now, some people would pronounce it Lockley. But like how Bucket can just as easily spell bouquet, I often pronounce it Loxley. But no, it's interesting. In this episode, it is interesting. Just that we do get a lot more of who Mark Spector is and all this stuff. And we get the Mr. Knight suit.
Yeah, that's interesting. Put on the suit. And Steven's like, okay. He said a suit.
Which I find such an interesting take on it. Because it's just like, that's just how his mind created the suit. I like that he has the billy clubs, which is also interesting because they are technically a non-lethal weapon. Mm-hmm. But what is also, this was actually one of the other things that I found interesting. It might have been last episode or this episode, when he's in the Khonshu's armor. And he's pulling out the crescent throwing daggers.
Oh, off his chest.
Yeah, but it's like he'll take one off and there's still one there.
Yeah. Magic.
The magic. It's magical. But there is actually a deeper question in all of this that I've gotten into some conversations with recently, which is, does Khonshu exist?
Are they going to pull that classic like they did back in the day? Is Khonshu real or not?
Well, the thing is, and everyone keeps on, and this is the thing, because like everyone keeps on bringing up the recent Avengers arc, and like, no, clearly Khonshu's real. And I'm like, but is he though? Because he completely, this is, and here is actually one of the things about it. When Mark Spector first started, during a full moon, he had class 100 strength and bulletproof skin.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that during a full moon, Moon Knight could punch the Hulk easy. He was in that weight class during a full moon. Which means that at that point, he absolutely had these amazing mystical powers. So the fact that Khonshu still has amazing mystical powers doesn't mean that Khonshu is real in the sense that Mark Spector has powers. Mark Spector could, and it's one of these other and also things, is like Khonshu could be real, but Mark Spector's powers are Mark Spector's powers.
Yeah.
That Mark Spector is the one that has unlocked this thing within himself.
But it'll be hard to say he's not real in the show because, I mean, Harrow believes in Khonshu, Mark believes in Khonshu, I mean...
People believe in a lot of things, Philip.
I know, but like an ancient Egyptian god, I mean, is that going to be that popular these days?
Is that any weirder than the idea that a day laborer in Galilee got put to death?
I know, but
cosmologically important. I mean,
but
people believe a lot of silly things.
I know, but Harrow was like, I was his first avatar, so he had the hallucinations. Now Mark and Steven are having the hallucinations.
Yeah, well, but that is, the Ammit. It's Ammit, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
That's who he's currently the avatar of, or he's got the cane with that little bit of purple magic, that little bit of Agatha all along magic.
Wasn't he going to look for or free Ammit because he has that compass thing?
Yeah, which also makes you wonder, it's like, man, if someone is locked away, do you really want to free them? Do you ever think that it's like the Twilight episode, the Twilight Zone episode, The Howling Man, and why they put him in the room with the Howling Man, I don't know, but it's like, just free me. What could go wrong? And it's like,
well, again, how religious zealots are. It's like, my Lord will bless me and favor me with many blessings or whatever.
Yeah, but that also reminds you of what we saw in Shang-Chi, of the I'm behind the wall. Why don't you open the wall and let me into your universe?
Exactly. It's a case of that again.
Wouldn't that be nice? And honestly, man, why these doors can be opened so easily? I don't know. It's like, you'd think that it'd at least be like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
Again,
3, 4, 7.
Again, if it was
a code you have to enter at least.
Again, if it was that long ago, maybe that's just all the people had that they would imprison these things. So they did what they could with the technology.
Put a big rock on top of him, and that rock will stand there.
Remember? I mean, oh my God, we had to watch X-Men Apocalypse. Remember, they just brought the pyramid down on Apocalypse.
Yeah, we dropped a big rock on top of him, and that'll suffice. And for what it's worth, I guess you can argue that kind of worked for a few thousand years.
Oh.
It's like, dude, we dropped a rock on him, and mankind has not developed rock lifting technology yet. So you
can't say that's not realistic. There's people in our world who'd be like, it's going to hold for a couple thousand years. That's their problem.
I mean, really, it's like, ever locked away Cthulhu? It's like, it's the Mayans and their calendar. Like, we've already done all the way up to 2000. Do we have to do another? It's like, no, just chill, man. Someone else will do the next 200,000 years of our calendar.
We can only lock away this evil entity for 1,000 years or two. They'll hit them with their flying cars. Then okay, don't worry about it.
Or you probably humanity will be dead by then by some other cause.
Everyone wants.
That's the thing. You're always like, just playing that gamble.
Everyone will be on Mars by then.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, I really like Moon Knight. It's a solid show. It also, it gives us. I really like Stephen Grant. I don't like the fact that he is going to get kind of shoved aside. But I do wonder if we're going to find out that actually Mark isn't the actual first person either. That, we're going to get to this idea that that third personality, that is actually who is the real person. And that Mark was really just the made-up name that he became a mercenary under, But that the actual person who he was the third personality, whoever that is going to be. That's neat. Like I said, I don't want to get too much into it because I'm going to talk about it with Maz. But
Yes.
Was there anything that really struck you about this episode that made you go, "Oh, I'm glad they did that," or "Why did they do that?"
Trying to think, is there anything? I don't know, man. Haro, man. Like you were saying on Full Stream Ahead, man. He is
he's a nutter.
Oh yeah. He's a cult leader, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly, and is like
their little commune. It's like, oh hey, thanks for the tomatoes.
Yeah, but it's like sometimes the cure can look like the disease. It's like no, that's just the disease with fewer steps.
Mm-hmm. He's got his little,
and the idea,
he's got his little cane. I'm like, oh god, this reminds me of the purple. This reminds me of Devil's Reign.
I mean, yeah, really, it is a mess on that. Yeah, I guess my biggest complaint was it did feel like the Mr. Knight suit was kind of shoehorned in there and almost made as kind of a
giant Easter egg.
Well, yeah, like kind of like we don't. Like it was almost like dissed, but maybe they're gonna actually bring it back, and actually that's where like Stephen Grant is gonna shine as Mr. Knight.
Maybe, yeah.
Like maybe this is gonna be Stephen Grant growing his personality, becoming more and more of a dominant force.
Maybe,
and so maybe that Mr. Knight, that Moon Knight, that Stephen Grant, that Mark Spector, that they're actually gonna become more equals in this relationship. That it's not just gonna be, and maybe that's sort of what you do as you integrate back in.
Yeah.
Like, once the personalities can sort of handle each other's messes, maybe that's how they grow. Which would be nice.
Oh, yeah. Come together.
I think.
Yeah.
And then other things that have been streaming this week is the new episodes of Picard.
Yes.
Picard in the 21st century!
Why did they do 2024? Just sort of like, oh, maybe we'll be past COVID by then. We don't have to mention it.
We desperately hope. Although, it's like, yeah. I mean, here's what I'll say. Hopefully the world is not that horrible. We go, oh, look, they thought the world would be a dystopia in 2024. Instead, it's actually a utopia. And that's what we're going to hope. They used to always say, look how great the world is in the future. Now they do like, look how awful the world is in the future. So that comparatively, we go, well, I guess it's not Blade Runner bad. Which actually I think has hurt us because it's like, oh, here's a much shorter stick. Like when we were like traveling the stars in the year 2000 and, there was a worldwide thriving, peaceful earthen government. That was a very different world that we could judge ourselves harshly against with flying cars and whatnot. And now it's like, well, I guess we're doing better than those guys. It's not as bad as it could have been.
Oh,
Did
you see the announcement for season 3 of Picard? They're bringing the whole band back together, the whole Next Generation
Well, not
cast.
the whole band, Philip.
Why?
Oh, well, I mean, most people are mad about Wesley.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and actually, Will's been, he's like, it's weird because, it's not like it was something I wanted to do, but it's also like, he's having that whole Adam West thing is they didn't even ask me. But he wrote a little fanfic about how you could integrate, the Traveler Wesley back into it.
Yeah.
And my own thing is that I think it's like Cisco. You want to write him back into the story, it's harder. Because their final episode was them ascending to another level,
Well, I think they said there was a scene, which movie was that, where Riker and Troy got married? Supposedly there was a scene with him at the wedding, but I guess they cut him out of it or something.
Well, I guess he could have traveled back for that, but yeah. I mean, there's lots of things they could do with him, but and it's one of these up and downs. And the fact of the matter is that since the guy has effectively retired from acting, when he acts, he's acting as Will Wheaton.
Yeah, like on The Big Bang Theory, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen him actually do, like, I'm not Will Wheaton, I'm Steve Shoemaker in this movie. and I am evil. I don't see him doing that, and I don't think he necessarily wants to do that. I think he really likes his celebrity persona. I think he likes the character that he plays, and hyping the things he likes to hype. So I think that's good.
And I've only seen a few. Have you watched any of those? Like, he does the Ready Room, like that after show for like the Star Trek shows. Yeah.
No, he's a personality now.
Yeah.
And that's good. I think that's a good field for him.
Yeah.
It's nice work if you can get it. I'd love to be a personality.
Oh yeah, I'd love to do that. I mean, Chris Hardwick does all those that Talking Dead after all the Walking Dead shows. Yeah, I said that'd be a nice. Yeah. I'd like that job.
Yeah, it's a good job, and I think he's happy where he's at, and I think that just the other folks in Star Trek, they're always chomping at the bit, to get back to it. Like, to me, when you say you get the band back together and you don't even have Barclay, I need my Dwight Schultz in there, man.
I know, I miss him too, but I mean, he got a bunch of time on Voyager too, though.
Oh yeah, no, he's been around. I mean, that's the thing. I get the feeling when they do a Picard film, it's going to be old home week, and they're just going to, they're going to say, well, we're also going to bring in some Deep Space Nine people.
Well, I just wonder if they're going to need room too, because again, they're bringing back, the main cast of TNG, and then are we going to have like these characters, that have been in the last 2 seasons of Picard? Like, is 7 and 9 going to be there? Is Raffi going to be there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would imagine they are, and that's.
I'm just saying, it's going to be a big cast. I mean, we're adding all the next gen people too, so it's going to be a big cast.
Yeah, but they're also talking about they're going to spin off a Picard movie now.
Oh, really?
That's the new rumor, that after the 3rd season, they're going to do the Star Trek Picard, the movie.
Well, yeah, because Picard's only going 3 seasons, because people were complaining about it online. They're like, only 3 seasons, and someone was like, how young do you think Patrick Stewart is? I mean, he's 81, and it's like...
Yeah, I know, I mean... And he isn't actually an android,
Exactly. I mean, his current wife is like 40 years younger than him, so I mean, there's reasons he doesn't want to act. So
yeah, he's got work to do, man.
A young wife, come on, let's spend time with her.
Well, who wouldn't?
But yeah, the android body that was funny when she was trying to give him the paddles. This
it's like, everything's working. It's like, well, yeah, it's because they're android bodies.
He's had some implants. What? Everything.
Yeah, pretty much everything. Anyway, but I guess we're going to do an Inception next episode. So,
yep,
we go into Picard's tragic past,
and the Borg Queen's hijacked herself a body.
Yeah, well, I think that's going to be like one of the big reveals at the end, is that the Borg Queen who came through the time portal actually is what's her name, but she actually does take back control and actually brings the Borg into unison with the Federation.
That's what I was wondering. I'm like, is this going to be a closed loop where it's like, oh yeah, the timeline got changed because they brought the Borg Queen back and to try to change the future that they caused. Ugh.
Well, I am waiting for Cisco to actually show up, and that's why the Q's having all this problem. It's like, he used to be able to just jump through time, and I don't know what's happening. It's like, because there's other people in the timeline. They're like,
I'm just wondering if like Q's starting to fade or something, because like in the new timeline the Q's don't exist or something, or.
Well, I mean, anything's possible. Well, that was actually one of the things interesting about the original Mirrorverse.
I did see another theory online too. They said, what if the new timeline has its own Q? So there's 2 Qs. What if the Q we're seeing is actually 2 Qs?
2 Qs, no waiting. Well, but there's all the Qs, and so that's the weird thing about Qs, is because all the Qs are the Q.
Yeah.
And it's the Q continuum, but it's also now there's just a fractured Q, sort of like the fractured beyonder theory that I have. That basically once the Q started going back and forth in time, they started fracturing themselves, and just too much chaos in the Q continuum.
What if there's 2 John Delancey's, and that's why those powers ain't working, because they're both bodies are trying to split that power.
Yeah, or just, it's interference. It's
sort
of how when the equal and opposite waves connect in a sound wave or a light wave, and it just disappears and then starts up after they stop interfering. Wave function interference, Phil. It's good though. I like it. I really like what they're doing with it. I like where they're going with it. I'm not going to worry about Will Wheaton. He's going to be fine.
Yes.
And if he makes enough of a stink, they'll write him into the 3rd episode, you know?
And I saw the best headline for this episode this week. Soong and Dance.
Yeah. And, yeah, so, it is amazing. Although, I guess now we're supposed to imply that all of the Soongs are just clones of the previous...
Oh, yeah. The daughter. I guess he's
remaking himself.
Oh, him? Or I thought the daughter was... Yeah, I guess he's recloning the daughter every time.
Well, he's been changing who the daughter is every time and all that kind of stuff. But I get the feeling like maybe the very end of this is just like the next Eric Soong. You know, that's how we get to Noonien Soong. But it's always just him playing with his own DNA and just, you know, downloading his brain and all this stuff. And that's how he gets to be the later Soongs.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
You know, because you know, there's never been, and that was one of the things we never saw. There's never the mommy Soong in this.
Exactly, because he's just making clone daughters. Yeah,
he's making clone daughters, and that makes sense. You know, that when he moves at the end of it, it's like once he figures out what he's going to do, I don't even think she's going to remake herself, or maybe he's going to just remake himself, or whatever he's going to decide to do. That's what we're going to get. That's why they all look like Data.
Yeah.
Forever.
I mean, that daughter, I mean, they really made that, put a dark turn spin on that, because at first you're just like, oh, he's trying to save his daughter, you know, because she can't go outside.
Well,
now it's like, oh, well, he's trying to save his science experiment.
Well, no, he cares about that. I mean, just because it's his...
Yeah, I know.
Just because he made her doesn't mean he doesn't love her.
That's true, but...
You know, I mean, I think that
she finds all those clippings and files, and just, you know, he's just like... You know, what we see, and he's like, I don't care about ethics. You know, we need to do this for the good of humanity, no matter what. Damn the consequences.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, is he is the start of the eugenics war, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Except he doesn't even want to do the eugenics war. He just wants to, you know, effectively
win his Nobel.
Make better people.
Mm-hmm.
And say, heck with all you people, this is the best people. You know, we don't need eugenics. We just need to make the best people.
I mean, it's just kind of weird in a Star Trek show. It's like, I know how I'll kill him. I'll hit him with my car.
That was a little weird, yeah. And it was also weird that he like tries to get him thrown out, and then that somehow they just don't catch it. Well, I guess because they did the distraction and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was weird. I was always like, wait a minute, did he tell them to beat him up? What are they doing?
Well, he told them, you know, remove him from this place. That person is not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
But then, you know, we get the distraction. He sneaks off. He gets to his daughter or his aunt or his whatever.
His great whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. What's weird about that? And again, there's a part of me that very much gets the feeling that like the real big reveal in this is that, you know, she's not supposed to go to Mars.
And maybe
that's this is because that's the thing when they reference. If you recall, the entire plot of the Gary 7 story was Gary 7 is trying to sabotage this bomb or this missile launch, and you know, but they don't have records. They said, well, if he's trying to stop it, that's bad. That'll be bad for us. Not realizing that, oh wait, no, he actually knows what he's doing. And it just also strikes me kind of weird that no one is mentioning that aspect, because they mentioned the Gary 7 incident. But oh wait, what was? Oh yeah, that's right. The entire Enterprise crew tried to stop him, but actually, what he did was what he was meant to happen. Wait a minute, are we supposed to be stopping him? Are we supposed to be moving? What are we supposed to be doing here?
Well, maybe that's the spin. It's like, you know, Q's gonna be like, "Hey, Picard, no, I'm trying to preserve our original timeline and my own existence, so you can trust me."
What would be really funny is if she says, at some point she says, "No, you don't understand. If she doesn't go to Mars, the Confederation won't rise."
Oh, yeah.
Say, wait, the what now? The Confederation. The Earth Confederation. Yeah, well, that's the gag. It's like, oh, wait a minute. We're on the evil mirror universe. I forgot. You know? Isn't this nice time we have a second evil mirror universe we can go to whenever we want?
I mean, I guess they came back before the convergence, but it's like, yes, you are traveling back from a corrupted timeline.
Yeah, you know. Anyway, you want to talk some comics, Philip?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's speaking of mirror universes.
Oh.
Let's open up with Star Trek Mirror War, number 5. Picard has his fleet. He's sending them out. But here's the thing. They built a bunch of great ships, but they do not have enough dilithium to power them.
Oh,
so they send Data out there. They come up with this brilliant plan, which is basically they're just going to put Data in a missile and just drop him from orbit.
wow.
Like, yeah, no, Data can handle it. And then he comes out and he basically just... Because he's also a Borg-enhanced Data. So he hops out and he just completely decimates all the Klingons. And we get a lot of fun things. This is neat because actually, after they take the mining colony and free the slaves there, Worf is like, "Oh, they did what? I will go get them." And then Garrick, good old Garrick, our Cardassian, he's like, maybe they're kind of trying to goad you into a trap. He's like, "Yes, this could be a trap." Huh? That's a good point. We will not rush there and get ourselves blown up. Good idea. But then our good, Troy tortures the Klingon who was in charge to get the supply routes. They find the supply routes, and then they basically realize that, they got this big ship that says it's just organic materials, but it's chock full of dilithium. So you got all the dilithium to power the fleet, and now they're ready to go. And then we get to this, and somehow Guinan is watching all of this. So I don't know this story, but that's going to be one to watch. So Mirror War continues to be fun. It can be a little disjointed because they keep on throwing in like individual story comics in between that kind of give you some people's backstories, but also feel like it kind of interrupts the flow of the larger narrative. So, but I do like it. I enjoy it, and I'm glad that IDW is publishing it.
Nice.
You got a book you want to throw out, Phil?
I'm sure you read Fantastic Four.
Of course I read Fantastic Four.
Reckoning War.
Yeah, Rita's weird in this.
Well, yeah.
Everybody's a little weird in this. I'm going to be honest with you.
Do you think that, with Reed, you blame it on that Watcher power?
Yeah, I guess so. And it's all these
I think maybe it's
angle things. And he wants Ben to think his family is dead.
Yes.
But then, after they... And I just love that after they fight... And after they fight, she's like, "No, they're not dead. But I needed you to get through because every time you've ever fought before, you had
nothing to lose before."
Yeah, you had nothing to lose. Although he always had something to lose, but he would never give up. This was the first time he panicked about losing. It's like, no, you have to be ready to just say, "I'm not." You have to get that old thing power again. And it's a little disjointed here because it seems weird. Because we kind of jump around a bit. That doesn't make a lot of sense because we see, She-Hulk and Jack of Hearts going up against the Reckoning, and then he's like, "I will bash your heads together until one of you is dead. Ha ha." And then when we jump back later, it seems like, "Oh, well, they'll deal with it. I don't know. I guess I just got bored." It's a weird little disjoint there that we don't get what that resolution is, but I guess maybe we'll get that later. And then you've got like I said, and then we have the Watchers, and we have Nick Fury following them, and one of the Watchers doesn't do the big communion thing, and it's like at one point Nick Fury's like, "Well, I guess I'll go follow him," and then he doesn't. It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Starjammers are there with the Guardians of the Galaxy, so that's fun, I guess. But then, again, it just bugs me.
Yeah.
Is the very end is, "I have the dark secret that I will unleash, and this will be the thing and do." If they have Dr. Doom save the day, I'm just like, stop that. Dr. Doom does not save the day. That is not how you write a good story.
Again, it might just be a story of Doom trying to steal power, because that's always what he's trying to do. Okay, and here's my...
Yeah, I know. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and I know Reed purposely turned Sue's invisibility on, full, so she's always invisible, but how is she? I know Slot's going to have her pop up somewhere towards the end, but it's like, well, what's she doing this whole time?
She's being super invisible, I guess.
I guess, but it's...
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. But, it's sort of like this. Here's the thing. I know that at the end of it, a lot of stuff is going to get resolved. So, as an example, after Johnny has run through all of this superpower burn, he's actually going to be like, yeah, now actually I'm in a spot where I can handle my fire in a better way, and that's going to be how we reset that. And everyone's going to be like at the end of this, and even though Reed says I'm going to die in 42 hours, that's because that's what Reed thinks. Mm-hmm. But at the end, the Watcher's going to be like, no, you're fine. You're fine, little rubber man. Don't worry. The blue fairy will bless you. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. It's a really fun read, but it's just like, at a certain point, some things are like, what are we doing with all this now? It's like, and again, like I said, when you have a Doom scene at the end, when all is lost and Doom seems like the guy who's going to save it, it's like, I could have gone all day without Doom saving the world, Again. All right. A couple times, or at least he says he does. He says he does it every week. Devil's Reign.
Oh, number 6. Yeah.
This is a good book.
Yeah.
But the best part about this book,
yes,
in my opinion, is that they just let Wilson Fisk sail off into the sunset.
Oh, you like that part?
Yeah, he's just like,
okay.
You know what?
I was gonna say Lilith did not like that part.
I loved it because I can totally see D'Onofrio doing this.
Yeah,
it would not surprise me if they don't write out the Kingpin in just this way in the TV shows and the movies, where he's going to get on the boat with his wife. They're going to introduce Butch at a later date, and
I mean, I just see that in the comics as like, hey, we're gonna push the Kingpin off to the side for a while, because we're gonna probably be doing hand stuff. Frank Castle's probably gonna be coming in, so he's out there. We can bring him back at any point.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is absolutely within this is just this idea that they're gonna set up the hand. That's gonna be the big thing is the hand led by Frank Castle versus the fist led by Daredevil, but at the same time. Now, aren't they both, trying to kill bad people? I mean, what is the end goal to this? Why is the Punisher running the fist? I mean,
well,
the hand?
It looks like they brought back his wife, so that's what I'm saying. It's like they're probably...
Oh, that's right. He's just doing it because he wants to be with his lady.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably going to try to corrupt him, and then, like I said, he's going to go off he's going to go off the rails when he finds it. Something's going to go awry with that resurrection, and he's going to not be too happy about that.
I thought it was interesting. So they implied that the other purple children were killed, but actually they weren't. They just got drained of their purple.
Yeah.
Which also just means that now one of the purple siblings is a purple sibling, and his brothers and sisters are just normal. So I'm sure that's not going to lead to any problems later on.
No.
I like that Luke Cage did not, that he actually was able to show that, I'm not killing a kid, dude,
Yes, exactly.
There's certain things you can't make me do. Do you think we're done with the Storm Winds?
I don't know. Yeah, that's the conversation we were having. I mean, I took it as they were dead, but I guess not. Well, the wife or the sister, whatever she is, takes the bullets. I don't know. Do you think they're leaving it ambiguous on purpose? And
Yeah, I do think it's absolutely meant to be ambiguous that because we see
she's
the brothers
I didn't see
definitely
that
lying on the floor.
I was gonna say, is the sister huddled in a fetal? It looks like she's sitting up, but she's kind of curled up. So
yeah, and she may be going into shock. And if there's no one there, if she's got a deep bullet wound, and she's bleeding out, she might be effed. So. Mm-hmm. Really, the real question is does Butch do something to save their lives?
Yeah.
And then do they feel any obligation to Butch?
And when Wilson Fisk does come back, is Butch going to welcome him back, or is Butch going to try to... I mean, he knows now that, Fisk killed his best buddy Mike Murdock, so...
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's sad, yeah. Man, that's a way to get rid of Mike Murdock, I guess.
Well, you know what I said? How do we know? I mean, they can always resurrect him, because remember what he did. He wasn't, at first he wasn't real. He was created through some Inhuman's weird powers. And then remember he stole one of those Infinity Gems and basically rewrote reality to make him real. We gave himself a whole past. Matt remembers that whole past. So I'm like, so he was rocking some, was it the reality gem? One of them, but it's so I'm like, could there be some kind of failsafe, or could he even just have some latent infinity energy in there that?
Yeah, well, someone will decide it's time for this to have Mike Murdoch back again.
Yeah.
Or we're just going to have Matt Murdock have dissociative identity disorder where he starts being Mike.
Oh, God.
It worked for Moon Knight. Hey, most important thing, Mayor Luke Cage.
Yes. You know what? They were supposed to have a 3-issue miniseries on Luke Cage for this whole event, and they canceled it before it even came out.
Yeah.
I mean, Lothar were like, why did
probably just because it was a lot of... it might have just been a lot of a lot. And I think they probably... Because I do think that they want to have Luke Cage as mayor. Well, and like I said, mark my words, when we get back into the MCU, Mayor Cage is going to be a thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Devil's Reign Omega, it comes out in May, but I think they said something like, there's going to be more on Luke Cage, so I'm assuming maybe that's when he gets sworn in the office or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and let's face it, it's not like, they run through mayors like... New York City runs through mayors like they're going out of style, and then you got J. Jonah Jameson, Wilson Fisk...
But again,
might as well have Luke Cage be mayor for a bit.
I mean, unless someone stuffs up at the last second. I mean, Luke Cage is basically just going to walk in the office because the only one running against him was Fisk, and he's gone now.
Yeah. Yeah. He's dead, according to Butch.
That's why it was weird. That's why it was weird. I was like,
on a party line. And actually, that's a weird thing. It's like the way New York City runs its elections. It's which is weird because it's like there actually are party lines, and you have to run in a primary. And it's like the top 2 winners in a primary wins, or so that actually what you wind up is like so the winner of the Democratic primary and the winner of the Republican primary run against each other, but there's like tiered voting now. It's confusing, but it basically means that sure, why not? Luke Cage is mayor. We'll just say it.
Again, the Devil's Reign Omega. Maybe they'll go into a little bit of that, but
yeah, maybe. Thing 6 was weird.
Yes, it was very weird. I mean, the whole series has been weird, but.
Yeah, I mean, also just the idea that Death is now like all thirsty. It's like I'm not sure I'm here for thirsty Death.
For Ben Grimm too, I know.
I'm not saying he's not a catch, but it's like
is
always before.
Is it that Ben's a catch, or is it anyone but Thanos?
Nah, tell me about it. Yeah, it's a little weird. And again, this is one where we get Doom being a hero. But again, then it's like this weird thing where Ben is helping Doom, and but this is in the past, so like, wouldn't it? It's a very non-canonical story.
Yeah, it's a thing where it's like it's a tale from the past, but it never gets brought up again.
Yeah, and I guess next week we're doing. Next is Clobberant. Thing returns in Clobberant Time #1 on sale in June.
In June, yeah.
So that's another Thing book, but a different Thing book.
Yeah, Thing and Hulk.
And,
yeah.
I wonder if they're going to do. There was a really great graphic novel. It's one of my favorite graphic novels called The Big Change. I can't remember who wrote it. It might have actually been Byrne, but it's about the Thing and the Hulk get transported to this planet that by this bureaucrat who basically needs them to recapture the secret formula that he has created, or that was created. It's a really good series. But The Big Change, one of my favorite one of the first graphic novels I ever bought from good old Bud Plant.
I mean, the one thing I did like about this book is, in this issue, when Alicia gets transported to like the realm of death, she can actually see, so she does actually get to see Ben. Mm-hmm. But then at the end, it's weird because she's like, she talks about him going into anger management. I'm like, does Ben Grimm ever? I mean, he yells at Johnny Storm sometimes, but have we ever seen Ben with like a real anger problem before?
Well, we have seen him like crush cabs several times at this. So, and it is, I guess, addressing that habit of him to like just pick up people's cars and crush. If you remember that one of the times that the Fantastic Four got sued, Although even in that one, it was like, no, they actually paid for all the damage that Ben did.
Yeah.
But like, but it broke him spiritually, kind of thing, It's a whole thing. Then we got She-Hulk.
Yep.
which is actually a really fun book. But again, the kind of thing that doesn't necessarily fit into the whole Reckoning War thing.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this whole takes place before Reckoning War.
I mean, I guess it has to.
Yeah, because it's like they're still kind of like getting a feel for each other, Jen and Jack, but it's like...
Yeah. But it's also interesting because in this, Jack doesn't have his laser beam powers. He can fly, but then by Reckoning War, he has them back. So...
Yeah.
And we also get that Patsy and Tony are still hanging out.
Well, yeah, they're getting engaged, dude.
They are?
Yeah, I think, what is it? Is it in May? There's the Iron Man annual. Yeah, supposedly they're getting engaged or something.
Oh, that's weird. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's gonna be. I don't buy it either, but it's gonna be like, when he had that power and their minds linked or something. It's gonna be. I've never felt so close to anybody.
Here's what I'll say. Tony could do worse than Patsy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I also think Patsy could do better than Tony. So.
And again, I know it's comics, but in the grand scheme of things, have they been together were they technically even dating at any point? I'm like,
no, they're not. They're actually just sort of like buddies.
Yeah.
They're mates. They're blokes, But maybe that's like the thing that, well, that's the thing. And so it's one of these things where it's probably going to be like, will you marry me, Catwoman? It's like, no.
Or they'll be engaged and then that wedding's never going to happen. They'll break up at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. Mephisto will come in and...
Hey, Patsy's done worse. Hellstrom.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Not for nothing. So technically, she's still already married to me, the son of Satan.
The book's interesting, but we really haven't got a ton of action since like that first issue.
Yeah, although I'll be honest with you, I don't mind that.
Yeah,
that's the thing, is I actually like a nice talky book.
Oh no, if it's
I'm old.
If it's a good story, I'm here for it.
Yeah, and it's kind of neat. It's a little mystery. It's a little mystery puzzle. It's a procedural, and she's that's like, let's see, what do we know? What does it come to? And you kind of get the idea that he doesn't really have a past. Yeah. He just has what people have told him his past.
I was going to say, I'm just waiting for the, you thought you know about yourself, but you don't know about yourself. Oh, I thought you were going to lead with Awesome Andy.
Oh, Awesome Andy's back. That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Although, again, a little bit of hand waving there. I rebooted him from a backup disk.
Hey, it works for Auto.
Hey, it worked. It worked for Optimus Prime, too,
Exactly.
It's like, nah, man, these things have like 8 billion... gazillion teraflops of data, and we just rebooted him to an old copy. Yeah, I like that Awesome Andy's back. Obviously, whoever is writing this loved that run of She-Hulk, which was a very good run.
I like a lot of these current writers that they seem to be either fans of the older stuff or they're doing their homework. I like that.
Yeah, well, and and I'll be honest with you, I think that sometimes comes from on high, and they just say, look, if you're going to do this character, know where they came from. Know that we don't really throw anything out here.
Well,
Marvel is the hoarders of continuity.
Oh, yeah.
It's like we may retcon it, we may change it, we may start to ignore things, but it's still there.
Mm.
And it's just like we can say it didn't happen that way later, but then some people will say, well, no, it kind of did though, because I saw it the first time.
Yeah,
like, yeah, I know it all happened, but maybe it didn't, but maybe it sort of did.
Yeah, most of these writers, like I say, they love the deep dives and the continuity. That's one of my big problems with Bendis. Like I said, Bendis is a good writer, but I don't agree with a lot of his choices, like in the last couple of years. But it's just, his problem, it seems like he always comes in and it's like, oh, what came before? I don't care. I'm going to burn it down and rebuild it how I want. And it's like, no.
Yeah, well,
A good writer takes what's come before. Look what Al Ewing did with Hulk. The good writer takes what came before and adds, uses it, adds to it, but still honors it,
And that's that I think is what is really good about a good writer.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing, and again, why I always go back to Jim Shooter. Jim Shooter was a stickler for this because he was the kind of guy who said, "No, look, we want to have a consistent story. We want these stories to hold together," and I think that is what really works with the MCU right now.
Mm-hmm.
Or as it's called, Kevin Feige presents the MCU. You know what? He's in his Stan Lee phase, you know?
Yeah.
And he deserves it, you know? And that's the thing. And here's what I'm going to tell you. Stan Lee deserved it, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because everything else, a lot of people worked on it, a lot of creators are part of it, but there's one guy who just says, you know what? Go in this direction. Make sure these things make sense. Where is Iron Man's nose, you know? And like, why are you drawing his nose like that? That looks stupid. Stop doing that. You know? Because you got to be willing to say, oh, well, that was a dumb idea.
Yeah, exactly.
So just ignore that. What? Inhumans? We've never done Inhumans. I don't know what you're talking about. Those were Skrulls the whole time.
Oh, come on. Secret Invasion, man. You guys can turn that all around.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, man. Everyone can say, oh, Secret Invasion's been delayed. No, it hasn't. It's all here right now. You're in the middle of it. You just don't know it.
Again, they might delay the actual series or whatever it is, but yeah, they're going to start dropping hints at, oh, maybe that's an end credit in Doctor Strange.
That's an end credit in everything nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Philip. My last book tonight is One Star Squadron.
Ooh.
I love, and again, talk about your talkie books. And it's a brilliant book. It's so well written, and it's such the Office with superheroes. Honestly, this would have been a good adaptation for Powerless, too, you know? We even have insurance fraud in it, man. And it's interesting because it's like, when we get the big reveal here, and of course everyone thinks that you know, Power Girl did it because she's a disgruntled employee. At first, Red Tornado thinks that Gangbuster did it because he's been kind of, you know, on edge. But then we actually find out at the very end, you know who did it? Minuteman.
Oh, Minuteman.
Find that Gangbuster was actually hiding in the closet at the time. So Gangbuster actually got killed because it turns out that Gangbuster got into a fight at his, you know, apartment complex. And Minuteman actually did it because the company that hired him, the company that bought Heroes for You, which was something seashells and whatnot, was actually a shell corporation that was owned by Lex Luthor. And what he wanted Minuteman to basically be his inside man. And he realized that rather than do that, he had just burned the place down, so that Lex Luthor couldn't ask him to look for the files. I mean, it's sad and it's beautiful. And then at the very end, Red Tornado finds the safe, breaks it open, gives him the payroll, $50,000, and just tells him to get out of there. Because he's not going to turn his friend in, you know. But he also it's sad and it's beautiful, and I enjoy it. And we've got some weird B-list superheroes. I don't know how many of them are even real superheroes before this book, but it's such an enjoyable read. And then we get the teaser for Flashpoint Beyond.
Yeah.
Which looks interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, I guess Mime has the power to just, make mime guns. That's cool. All right, Phil, that's the last of my books. You got anything you want to talk about before we call it a night?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, so Philip, so I don't screw it up, why don't you tell people how to find us?
You're fine. But yes, kids, you can follow Superconnectivity on Facebook, on Twitter, all the social media, our YouTube channel, our Patreon. Please subscribe to that. Again, early access to creator interviews, Mr. DG Chichester, superhero movie brackets, the worst superhero movie. We're going to find it. Merchandise, everything is at Linktree, linktr.ee/CapesandLunatics, including, again, like I said, all social media for all the shows on the Capes and Lunatics and the Capes and Lunatics sidekicks. And again, send us feedback. Charlie wants your feedback. Email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES.
We'll put you on the air if you don't swear.
Yay.
Yes. And of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way that our mothers and fathers once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And follow me on the Twitters. I live tweet things like Naomi, which I still say is a good show, at Charlie Esser. That's CHARLIE ESSER. Look for the two E's in the middle.
For quality,
Bing!
Thank you, Maz. All right. That is our show, Philip.
Yes.
And that's the music. I hope people have enjoyed connecting with us, but what I really hope that next week they'll come back again and super connect with us once more. Good night.
Good night.
Happy song. Happy little song.
Happy little Sue.
Sonic 2 coming at you pretty soon.
Oh, yeah. Is that this weekend?
It's this weekend, yeah. And then Multiverse of Madness coming out in May.
Yeah.
Already selling the tickets for it. Already a blockbuster.
That's right.
The swamp, more than merely a place. It is a churning, seething, bubbling bed of life, of which you are a part. Once you were a man, a chemist named Ted Salas, until one little experiment went somewhat awry. And you changed. The serum that was to have made you a super soldier, combined with the strange forces in the swamp, to make you over into this, a shambling, mindless mockery of your former humanity. The macabre Man-Thing. Man-Thing was created in the early 1970s to capitalize on the growing monster craze, but under writer Steve Gerber it became something quite different. Experimental, surreal, and very, very weird. It was something I loved as a kid, but does it still hold up today, 4 decades after its initial publication? So join me, Paul Matthew Carr, as I attempt to make sense of this cult classic and analyze each issue, putting it in the context of the time it was written and comparing it to the standards of today. And maybe you too can come to love the world's second most famous swamp-based comic book character as much as I do. The Nexus of All Realities, a Man-Thing podcast, a twice-monthly dive into the bizarre.